Right, we're calling the meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. Public meetings are subject to being videotaped. Your voice and image may be recorded. Mr. Galvin, do you have something you want to talk to us about? We might as well.
He has a 7:30.
Oh, you have seven. Okay, I'm sorry. I had looked. I hadn't seen that one. Okay. All right then. I guess we will start with the approval since it's 7:15. Have people had a chance to read the minutes? I haven't.
I have, but
Yeah.
they look fine to me.
Let me just. Yeah, it's if I get them on the same day, it's really difficult if I'm working to get them. Let me just take a look at the executive session quickly. I think I'll go with you guys on the other, okay? September 11th.
I've got a wood pellet still, I just need to have a continuous heater.
So bring it up there.
I'll knock them over.
Okay. All right, I'm going to take a motion to approve the minutes of September 5th, 2017 open session, all present. September 11th open session, all present. September 11th executive session, all present. September 18th open session, all present. I take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Any comments or questions?
Nope.
All right, hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And while we're at it, because I think it can be done, I'd accept a vote to release the executive session. I guess that was
Remind me, which one was
that
this?
was the Joe at Tube and the part-time employment at Mulford.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. So
Motion to release?
Second.
Any comments or questions?
No.
Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next, we have a motor vehicle fiscal year 17 refund in the amount of $102.50.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All right, hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, the next matter we were going to talk about slightly extending the closing of the special town meeting warrant.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you suggested Saturday, October 28th. I'd suggest, I mean, is there any real reason not to just do it the following Monday? Because nothing's gonna, I mean, in terms of timing and production and everything,
Just the sooner we can get it to town council, so we would lose a business day.
one business day. I guess I'd be in favor of letting it have another week, because I think we've,
Okay.
in other words, not another week from the 28th, but just to that Monday.
Yeah, that following Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be good to have an extra day or so to get the numbers together.
Yeah, yeah, okay. And while we are at it, let's use the next 5 minutes to figure out what we need to get together as a Board of Selectmen for this.
Okay.
I think we need to get a number for municipal building expenses.
I'm working on it. Leanne sent me something today.
Okay. Well, I mean, it should be basically my report.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
She sent me something today, but I was going to check to make sure it was the same thing.
Yeah. Well, and you and I can look at that. I mean, I think at this point, nothing that you reported from last Wednesday
Mm-hmm.
changed what I thought, because I think
Right.
I responded to you
Right.
by email that we knew about that item, and I had included a $2,500 figure for sort of final contingencies, but I knew,
Okay.
you know, I was counting that as part of the final
Right.
contingencies. And certainly if anything comes out this Wednesday, then, you know, we need to do that. So that one I think should be pretty close to done with the figure that's in my report, again, unless anything comes up
Right.
Wednesday. The thing that, that's, that's one piece of it, though. We have spent 7,000 odd out of the the 20,000 for miscellaneous expenditures. Keith has, you know, has indicated that he's got a number of things.
Mhm.
So I think the piece that I'd love, if you could chase some, you know, in the next week.
I have been.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
What we need is, what he needs on top, we'll take care of the town hall piece at this point.
Right.
But he needs to tell us what he needs in addition
Right.
to that, taking into account that we've already spent, you know, 7,900 out of that. Do you follow
Right.
me? And
Yes.
that's, reimbursing that is not part of my figure.
Right.
Okay, so he needs to realize that he's at about 12,000.
I believe he has used some of that miscellaneous for his own things, and I think that $20,000 may be in the negative right now.
No, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
he needs, basically, whatever he's spent already
Mm-hmm.
and whatever he intends to spend. The way I understand it, he's got like $12,000 for that. So if all of his figures, you know, add up to 18 or add up to 20,
Mm-hmm.
then we have to contribute the difference between the 12,000 and whatever
Right.
figure he does, on top of the figure
Yeah.
that we've got. So if you could help him to nail down that
Yep.
figure, then we can add my report figure, you know, for the 1870 town hall, and we'll know what we have to do with that.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep. I'm in the process.
It would probably also be wise to run this. When is the FinCom meeting again? Because it'd probably be wise to talk with them about our idea for funding and see if they would prefer some different way of doing it, you know.
I'm trying to pull up the calendar.
Hmm?
I'm trying to pull up the
Okay.
calendar.
Well, we can, you know, we can get back, but before the end of the evening, we
Well,
need
actually,
to...
I have it in here. It's October 25th.
Oh, great. Well, we should get on the calendar, because by that time we should have the figures. And
Do you want
we,
to meet with
yeah, and then,
Do you want me to ask to have an appointment with them?
Yes, I think so. Because then we will have the figures, we will have our proposal for funding it, and we can chat with them on the 25th.
Mm-hmm.
And then we will have until the following Monday to sort of complete the articles in accordance with that. So that's, and then the last piece is we need to calculate how much more needs to go into part-time wages for Leanne.
Yep. That's the part that I was talking about that Leanne had sent me.
Okay,
Yes.
then we need, yes, good, okay, because that's what I was waiting for the same thing from her, and I hadn't seen it, so.
I think she just sent it to me today.
Okay.
I had seen her at the ZBA meeting and mentioned it.
Okay,
So I can forward that and.
okay, because that's the other figure we need. And I think that does it
I'm hoping.
for us for the special town meeting,
Right.
okay? So that's good, if we can, you know, nail down some of those figures by
Yes.
next week, you know, that's good, because then we can get it out to FinCom a couple days before we meet with them.
What, next Monday is, what's the date? Is it the following Wednesday that
Yes.
the
The
FinCom meets?
23rd is next Monday.
Yeah, so it'd be the
And
2
the
days
2
later.
days after
Okay.
that is when FinCom meets.
So that
Okay,
works.
good. Yeah.
That works. Okay?
All right.
All right, now we have our first appointment. You want to come forward or sit right there, George?
I'm close enough.
Okay. All
Good
right.
evening. As you're chairman of the board of Council on Aging, I come to you with a whole bunch of things to discuss, really mostly an update of what's going on, and then one thing to drop in your lap and let you mull over for a bit. But just to kind of give you a little what's going on. My objective here is not to be the director of this program forever. In fact, this wasn't my third career that I planned on in my life. But it's turning out to be that. So my objective is to try to get this thing all sort of running on its own. And to that end, I have tried to delegate parts of this operation to different people, and it's working with some degree of success. Peg, as you already know, has been handling the work-off program. In addition to that, she operates as our dispatcher for our buses or our van and all the people that need to be dispatched hither or thither. And that works out fine. That does that job remarkably efficiently. And in addition to that, she keeps me in line and lets me know what I'm doing wrong. So
That's what she did when she was with us.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, I appreciate it. She doesn't think I do, but I really do appreciate her. She's very, very knowledgeable, and that's part of the reason we're here tonight. But let me just go over some of the other stuff.
please do.
Fran Gill has been doing a lot of the administrative parts for us, secretarial stuff, and producing the job descriptions that you have in your packet somewhere that you're welcome to look at. They're not the issue tonight, however. Lucy Ayers has been working for some time to produce the Powder House News and to do some of the other liaison work between other committees and the Council on Aging, in particular the Senior Citizens Group, which we're now working cooperatively with in a variety of ways, but most importantly in working on some grants together, so that we're talking on the same page as far as getting grant money for various programs. Beverly Baldwin has just taken over the job of coordinating the Meals on Wheels program for us, and after 2 or 3 months of bureaucratic tape, we finally got to the point where somebody got fed. And last week we fed 30 meals, and I expect we'll be doing about the same this week. And my guess is that it will go up considerably. This is kind of like the ones that have been able to comply with the multiple pages of paperwork that they have to do to get qualified. But anyway, they're getting more than 1 meal a day. We deliver on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but they get meals for multiple days, including frozen meals they can use over the weekend and so forth. So it looks like it's going to be a good program if we can get all the kinks worked out. And Laurie Farabee has been taking care of all the equipment for us, all the wheelchairs and walkers and all that stuff, and making sure that we keep an inventory on that and what people need are getting to the people that want it. And
Do you need donations for those kind of
again?
things? Do you need donations for those kind of things?
yeah, I mean, I'm not soliciting them because they come in whether you want them or not.
Okay.
So, I'm on persona non grata in all of the places in Worcester where they take stuff, because I come in with 27 walkers and they say, no more. So, but we have a stock of a lot of stuff, but I never say no, because you never know what you're going to need next week.
Yeah.
The moment we're a little short on wheelchairs, but we still got a couple in spare. And so we also have Kate Bliss and Karen Schultz. Karen, social worker, and she provides a lot of serious input for issues that we aren't quite clear on how we should handle things. So anyway, we have a great crew working for us. We are experiencing some difficulties. One is we are having a yoga teacher that can't teach anymore. And so we got to find a replacement for that person, or somebody that's capable of teaching chair yoga and older citizens yoga. And so that's one of the tasks that is in the making for the next month or so. By the way, the formula grant, which pays for most of that, comes to about $7,000 a year. We don't know how much. No director in the state has yet figured out what the state's going to pay. So we're a little bit concerned about that. But when it comes in, it'll be in that neighborhood, I'm sure. And almost every nickel of that goes to the yoga and the Tai Chi programs. So just so you know where the money goes. I have yet to get an answer.
They
out of
seem to be well attended, because I dropped Sally off on the Saturday
yeah.
ones, yeah.
Yeah, they like it, and although it doesn't serve that many people, the people that go are very dedicated, so. All right, so I did mention Meals on Wheels, that's good. So why am I here? Well, some time ago, a couple of years ago, we had a discussion about how the workout program would work with members of the board. And at that time, a decision was made that said that at least I and one of the other people who are residents of the town could do the workout program, get paid, and also get funded if there wasn't enough money for that or enough workout time for that. That's getting to be another big problem because that other person cannot do it anymore, so I've lost a driver. I'm still looking for a driver that will be willing to help in that regard. But
You're talking about using the workout program to pay drivers.
to pay off, yes, to pay them in place of cash.
Right.
What happened, of course, was that he used up that workout time in a half a year, and so then we paid him out of the funds that are in the budget for payment. So that issue still is there, but now I'd like to apply it to other jobs, like the person who does the newspaper, the Powderhouse News, and anybody who takes on the social work part of the program, the particularly social events coordinator, which we are supposed to have, and kind of we just sort of pretend that we have somebody doing it, but that's one of the things. And the other thing is the director and the social, the director and the director's assistant or secretary or financial and or secretarial person. I'm not good at all of this, and I'm not good at doing all of it, but I think we have to kind of come around the corner here on where we're going with this whole program. A third of our citizens are in the category of senior citizens, and the director's job, which I kind of wear two hats, but that job is going to require somebody to do it soon.
Right.
Because I just can't keep doing this, and
As a member of the Council on Aging.
well,
yeah.
not only just that, but I don't have enough time in the.
No, I understand.
It isn't so much the job as it is. There's just too many things to do.
No, the point I'm making is that what we're talking about is an administrative position.
Right.
Separate from the Council on
Correct.
Aging. That's
Correct.
what I was.
And we
yeah.
really should be doing that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, almost all of these jobs should be out of the Council on Aging. But we're so small, it's really hard to, it's hard to pay somebody to do the Powderhouse News, for example, but it's easy to sort of do it as part of a workout thing because it's sporadic and so forth. But I think we need to look at that whole part of this process and decide at least temporarily how we're going to fund it, and if we're going to allow members of the board to be able to be compensated by the workout program or otherwise as members of that board. And it isn't a precedent setting here in town for sure, but it certainly needs to be addressed in a formal way so that we say yes or no, we're doing this or we're not.
Yep.
So that's my major purpose to be here tonight.
Okay.
But in addition to that, I'd like you to look at those job descriptions, and any input you could provide would be great.
Yeah.
One of the things we decided upon meeting last was that the drivers of the van would require CPR training. We just finished training 5 people from the council, under the Council of Aging's umbrella in CPR the last 2 weeks ago. So we're complying with that as far as the drivers of the van are concerned, but I don't really think it's necessary for the people that deliver meals or the people
CPR.
that...
The CPR training?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or for that matter, the people that occasionally take somebody because we can't take them in the bus because the bus is going one way and they're going the other. It's a little bit more than is needed, I think. So I'd like to rewrite the job descriptions and the understanding with the board that the CPR requirement refers to those driving the van that carry multiple passengers or could.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more to driving the van than a vehicle, because there's a thing to operate to get them on and off and a whole bunch of other stuff that involve some training and some care.
Yep.
They're complicated people to handle. So, all that being said, I think that's all I really have, but I'd be glad to answer a question if I could,
Sure.
and then we could get out of here.
Well, first of all, here's a copy of the work off policy.
Yeah,
Okay.
got it.
And the main problem that I see with what you're talking about is having council on aging people in the work off program. If you look at page 3, it talks about, a participant in the program can hold other municipal positions and have financial interests, providing that you don't participate or have an official responsibility for the administration of the program.
Right.
And because Council of Aging has administrative control over the program, that's the real rub.
Right.
So I don't know if any, certainly anybody else chime in, but that one, that seems to me to be, a considerable rock to come up on in the boat, that it
Right.
just, and it's a conflict of interest. I did take a quick look, not an exhaustive look, over the weekend, because I knew this topic was coming up, to see if there was any kind of out in terms of appointing people as special municipal employee, but I don't think so. So I think that's a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
We've talked about this before. When you come in for budgets, but I feel like you're quite correct. It's a significant percentage of the population that are in your the age group that you serve. They're people who pay taxes for a long time, who continue to pay taxes and support things like schools and stuff that they don't expect to use. And I'm a supporter of trying to expand services if we can do it in an economical way. It does seem to me that as things are developing in this budget cycle, and so it's very timely that you're coming and talking to us now. It does seem to me that it's something we have to look at in terms of those job descriptions, and if we create a part-time position.
It seems like the job is too big for strictly volunteer staff.
Yeah. So we agree.
Too many
Yeah,
pieces.
but look at it and see where we're at, because, we need to have some, we can't just keep kind of doing this blindly. Peggy's right about that. It needs to be addressed in one way or the other,
No, I think you're absolutely right. And, I'd like to, have a conversation about town council, about, ways of providing, transportation, that might be, allowable and, in terms of liabilities and all of that. I think, there are a number of people who now on an informal basis take somebody in a private car, as
Right.
you indicate.
And there are many who do so but get compensated for their mileage, not their time, but their
Right.
mileage.
And I'd like, I'd like to have a conversation with them to see what we should do to sort of more formalize that and protect ourselves and
What do other towns do? Do you know?
I was gonna ask, are there regional solutions or something that we can do to buffer up?
I'm sorry, Lisa.
Is there a regional solution or something we can do to?
No, they're asking us how we do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. They're all trying to figure out how we do what we do here. How we manage to get a bus and how we manage to run it and who runs it. And I get calls every week about, well, how do you handle this, or what do you do with that?
yeah.
But as far as, I guess I'm thinking of the work-off program and whether, I would assume they don't pay their council on aging through the work-off program. What do they do? Is it just a budgetary?
Pretty much it's a budgetary
Okay,
thing
yeah.
where they pony up the bucks to pay somebody to do it.
Right.
But we got in trouble with that in the very get-go because we were sort of paying out of a slush fund stipends for people to do stuff, which wasn't accountable in any way about hours or
Yeah.
anything, So,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
really wouldn't want to go back
Yeah.
to that kind of a system. It's just not.
Yeah. And there's no problem with paying a driver out of the work-off program if that driver is not also a member of the Council on Aging.
Ah,
That's the issue.
Yeah.
I mean,
we could, yes, we could do that.
right.
Yeah.
And, money's money. I mean, that, you could do it partly as a budgeted item, and then to the extent that you can get work-off people, that can, offset that. And I think you'd want to design your budget with enough flexibility that if you got work-off, you had the ability to put that money into a van repair or something like that if you, if you could. So I think the list of things that you indicated are a good list, and we should definitely, in 2 or 3 weeks when we're starting, the budget process, I think yours is an area where maybe you and, if others want to come in, I think we ought to schedule like a half an hour session to see,
Yeah.
what it is and what we do, because,
Put together a
Yeah.
proposal of
yeah.
some kind.
Are there good examples of other communities who are paying their sort of director of their, are there communities that you can point to that we could maybe talk to?
Yeah, I mean, the larger communities that are more organized. Clinton, I go to Clinton with all my headaches because the lady who runs that program used to be one of our dispatchers here in town. And Debbie is very, very competent, and she gets me through the stuff that I'm not so sure about. So they have a program that's running very well. I'm not so sure about Hudson, but they're in a kind of a different world too, because they're kind of over the hill in that sense. Different county and different governments. But I don't know. Boylston doesn't seem to be doing much that I can copy. They want to know what we're doing, and Bolton is doing nothing that I can tell. So we're kind of.
So we're sort of forging the way.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
kind of really are on the pointy end of this one, primarily because we're doing so many things for seniors that, other people haven't even thought of yet. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I would say, one of our first couple of meetings in November ought to come in. We should think about it.
Yeah.
You should
Sounds
have a
good to
list.
me.
If you, again, if you have any examples of how, a more active town,
Well, I can,
of
I
our
can give you
size
that,
is
but you're not
dealing
going to
with-
want to hear it because it's very expensive. They all have full-time directors, recreation directors, they have program directors, and they're all being paid quite a bit of money to, I get it from the state. I get ads every so often about there's a job opening here and there and everywhere.
Well, if you bring some of that stuff, that would be helpful
Yeah,
to
okay.
consider.
Okay,
All right.
sounds good. All right,
Thank you.
Noah?
All righty.
Something we haven't dealt with before.
Well, it's always nice to do something new.
Yeah, so we have one of our officers who is in the National Guard, and he is being deployed for 1 year. So I started to look into benefits, how we handle things, and it obviously looks like the town hasn't really revisited this in quite a long time. Looking in the personnel policies, it references the Selective Service Act of 1967 as our most recent thing. It doesn't take into effect USERA and some other things that have gone into effect. So that, looking at the contract, the police contract covers short-term leave for their, 2 weeks a month, 2 weeks a summer, and every, weekend a month. So there's really nothing on benefits when deployed. There's a state law that the town could accept that covers state employees, that basically keeps them as town employees and pays the difference in their pay. Where I really started looking at things was health benefits. So this person who's being deployed has 2 children. Yes, you get full health coverage with the military, but you have to go to a military facility for your health coverage. So there's 2 children with pediatricians and different doctors that now for a year have to drop everything and go to a military base. One lives in the western part of state and one lives in New Hampshire. So it's a little,
kids
the
do?
kids, yes, it's a little bit of an
Okay.
interesting situation.
Okay.
So what I was looking to do was to talk to you, figure out if there was something we could work out before we start really discussing updating our policies, and whether or not we accept the law for the, and this may be something for a special town meeting, if we were to accept, Chapter 33, Section 59.
Can I take a quick look at it?
Yep, so this is the state law.
Yep.
Here's our current personnel stuff, if you want to see that.
It does, it basically covers the difference between their salary
Yeah.
in the military and their salary that they're getting.
And in this case, because of his rank in the military, salary may not be an issue, but what I want to do is be able to keep him on the health plan, and as he has come out and said, I'll pay my normal portion that I pay, but just for the continuity for the kids especially, and I think that's something going forward for any family that could become an issue.
If we're going to go forward and fix a policy, though, this is something we should be looking at.
Yeah. And that is, looking at different communities, you go into like the city of Cambridge and they continue full pay and benefits while someone's deployed. Granted, they have a lot more resources, to others that, do the bare minimum and make sure they guarantee that they have a job when they come back. No loss of seniority and leave time and things like that. So, I think we could probably be somewhere in the middle. I don't think we can afford to be Cambridge.
Probably.
Okay, so the way I'm reading this is in terms of compensation.
Right.
It says during the first 30 days, you give him
Full
the ordinary
compensation.
compensation.
Yeah, and then it's
And thereafter, you
the
give
difference.
the amount by which his compensation or her compensation here exceeds the military compensation.
Right.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah.
If we were to adopt this now, does this, can you do this within your budget this year?
Yeah, I don't think there'd be an issue within the budget because we are not replacing him with another full-time employee. It's going to be offset with part-time.
And you have enough in your budget
Yeah.
to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You knew
So-
this was coming, right?
I knew this was
You had
coming,
sort of
and
planned.
I mean, in his full salary offsets more than part-time salaries, so that's not an issue.
Okay.
It'd be similar to last year where we'll probably be doing a transfer from full-time wages back
Yeah.
down to part-time wages to make up the difference.
Okay. And the training and stuff in Part A, is that pretty consistent with what we? do
Training, yeah,
anyway?
we actually are 2 days off in the contract, but it's consistent,
Okay.
and that's actually consistent with you, Sarah, with the federal law and state law.
Okay.
It's an interesting way to calculate it with a 17-day calendar for the state and a 34-day calendar for the federal government.
You seem like you already looked at this, so, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I was researching this with him.
Yeah, but I think this, like, long-term, we really need to think, I don't think, and I don't know, I've asked around, and Dennis hadn't dealt with it, and I don't know if we've ever had anybody, who's been deployed.
No, I mean, I
So-
can't think of one
I see.
since 2000.
Anybody that you know of that's been?
No, I can't think of one since 2003,
Yeah.
so.
I wrote down the chapter and section, I can look it over.
Yeah, you can keep that if you want.
Well, okay, I'll keep it if you like.
Yeah, it was just interesting to look at the personnel policies and see that it referenced a document from 1967. Which it,
Well, it was the last
it hasn't.
time
Yeah,
that
we
was
haven't
the
had
last
a
Selective Service
Service,
Act.
yeah.
That,
so.
I'm very familiar with that one from
Yeah.
my youth. That
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's certainly something to consider putting it on the special town meeting warrant, adopting this. I would also say that we could adopt it as a personnel. I believe we could adopt it as a personnel policy without that, but having
Without that,
the
right.
having the state law, I
This
think,
is
provides a good
Probably a better way
foundation for
to
it.
do it, yeah.
Yeah.
My only concern with that would be is the special town meeting is on December 11th and he is being deployed the day after Thanksgiving. So we
So is this, you know,
Retroactive.
so we're a couple of weeks off.
well, I mean, that's the only time, that's
Yeah, the only time we
soonest
could do it, right.
that.
So
As I say, I do think that we can adopt it as a policy.
until
and then-
such time as
and
it's
then ask
accepted.
for this,
as-
yeah.
Okay.
I think we could adopt it as a policy whether or not we adopt this act.
Yeah.
But, we can check that with council.
Town,
but I-
okay.
you know,
Excellent. Well,
Yeah,
that would be
I
good.
think,
I think that gets us up to the modern era.
All right.
At least in this area. huh?
Yeah, really.
Somewhat.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
entirely.
all right, excellent. Well,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank
And,
you.
Yeah, I won't be around for the next meeting, but I can draft something to give to you for the special
It'll
town
be
meeting
two-
warrant.
what,
So it's 2 meetings,
from
2
tonight
weeks.
That we'll be
Okay,
closing it
excellent.
at 8 o'clock, right? And we haven't, I don't
Perfect,
think we took
yeah.
the vote
I
on
will-
that, but we, yeah.
I will be in Philadelphia for the weekend for the Chiefs Conference, so I'll be gone for a few days.
Well, you know what W.C. Fields' tombstone says?
No,
I'd rather be here than Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But,
we'll see. I'm driving in case I want to leave early, so.
and that is what it says.
Yeah. All right,
All right.
excellent.
Thank you.
All right, just sit down for a little bit. Actually,
Indeed. Okey-doke. Just take that. Okey-doke. Oh, yes. So let's pick up, we had said that we would go to October, is it still October? Yeah.
The 30th?
Yeah, October 30th at 8 o'clock to
Yes.
close the board. So I take a motion to that effect.
So moved?
Second?
Any further comments or questions?
Nope.
Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
So for all those listening in, it is 8 o'clock on October 30th that the special town meeting warrant will close. Alrighty. The next item was the budget letter, which reflects what we have done in the past. Typically, we have used the we have for many years now used the September to September COLA simply because it's the quarter that closes closest to the beginning of the budget process. And this reflects what we have done in the past. Does the second bullet under 2, does that take into account the compounding of last year's COLAs, et cetera?
No, this has been the number ever since I've been here.
Okay. Well, we probably ought to update that. I mean, it's not gonna go up too much because, but it will go up a little bit, so we need to update that. If we're, if we're gonna go.
Mhm.
Who's the cruncher of that number?
Hmm?
Who wants to do that?
Well, I mean, it would seem to me if we haven't done it since
4 years.
4 years, and this was the figure, then if you went back 4 years and looked at our COLAs and
Just bump it up.
yeah, our COLAs and our step, right?
I'll do the math and you take a look at it.
Yeah, and I mean, if the total of those was, 2.5% one year, you'd multiply it by 1.025, and then you'd multiply that by, if it was 3 the next year, by 1.03, you know, and so on.
Yeah.
And just update it. I mean, again, these are approximate figures, but if we haven't done it in 4 years, it's probably time to update those.
And the 13,500?
Yeah, yeah, that would,
I
the
don't
same
know,
thing.
I don't know how the super got made on that, it predates me, but I can do the
Oh,
same
I would
thing
just
on
take that figure
Same thing.
and do the same thing
Multiply it
over
up.
for you. You
Okay.
know, this is,
Okay.
but it did occur to me when I was looking at it late this afternoon that,
You'd seen those numbers before.
yeah, I was like, those are starting to look very familiar.
Mhm.
That, again, this has been our policy. It is, you know, it's our policy to make each year. I will say that during there were some years in which it was 0, and I think in one year, maybe 2009, it was actually negative over, you know, not that we didn't adjust
Well,
negatively,
yeah,
but
I'm sure.
but obviously in the, you know, there were years in which people got 0. I mean, Tom can attest to that because we, you know, we carried this over into some of the contracts. And, you know, the town employees, you know, took that. And so my feeling is, you know, unless you get my own personal feeling is that unless you get something that you feel is outrageous or, you know, or a very unusual spike,
Yeah.
I would stick with it because I view it as sort of a long-term commitment, and I look back on, you know, those years, 2009, you know, 10, 11, and so on, when, you know, it was, the COLA was 0. But I don't know how other people feel about that.
Well, it's been working so
Mhm.
far. I know that the .3 didn't go over very big when we had that increase a couple of years ago.
But that's what it was, you
Yeah.
know? And again, my feeling is, you know, it's, if you're gonna be tough, and when it's you know, when it's a third of 1%, you give people a third of 1%,
Right.
then again, unless you have a figure that, you know, if this figure were, you know, 8%, and it was because we could identify that, you know, because of the hurricanes and so on, this, you know, this was anomalous, and if you looked at June and December, you know, June and March, and they were way below that, I mean, I could see a reason for adjusting that, but there's nothing, you know, nothing of that sort that's happening.
I think the important thing is there's a process and people know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
So this works just fine for me.
Yep,
Yep.
I agree.
Yep. And again, as I say, it's not that we're totally wedded to that. And if, as I say, this figure like 8%, and you could identify
Mm-hmm.
something weird, and you looked at the last couple, you know, and predictions for the next one, and you know, it showed 3.5 or something, you know, I wouldn't be shy about adjusting in that sort of situation, but I don't, you know, I don't think we have an anomaly here, so.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so then, this is part of the sort of initial budget package, so,
Need a motion to
yeah.
approve
Yeah.
with the 2.7 and adjusting the numbers for number 2?
Yeah.
Okay, that's my motion.
Second.
Any other comments or questions? All right, hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye. It's so funny because I think 1% in the school budget was like $20,000 increase. You know.
Okay, let's see. The next item is whether to publish the Preservation Act notice and deadlines, and I think it's appropriate time.
Publishing doesn't,
Reminding, you know, just reminding people, putting out.
okay. Gotcha.
And did people look at this, the timeline? Because I can recite it if you haven't looked at it.
I looked at it very quickly.
Okay. Applications have to be in by January 8th. We'll decide on competing funding requests by February 12th. And then we will, put it on the town meeting as we had before for endorsement. Okay? Is that fair enough?
And then we have discussion at some point whether to put it on or
What do you mean?
whether to put it on the town meeting warrant in May.
Yeah,
We'll have a discussion.
Yeah, the applications come in by January 8th. Between January 8th and February 12th, we decide on the competing.
Right.
And then what we decide becomes reflected as a special article
Right.
on the town meeting warrant.
Right, okay.
Okay?
Yeah, I remember now. Do we know what the balance is in that account, or no?
It's 100 and change, isn't it, something like that?
Yeah, but there's something that was approved at town meeting, I forget now, it was 25,000 approved at town meeting for library, set aside for the library design.
So I think I think even after that it was 100 and change.
Yeah, it's 100 and
And-
change.
yeah.
That's right.
Okay,
Okay?
all right.
All righty. The next, we have an appointment of Michael Gaskin to the Information Technology Committee. Lisa, do you want to talk to this?
I have not talked to him, but his information makes him look extremely qualified.
Okay.
Okay.
Do
I'll
I
go with that.
hear a motion?
Motion to appoint Michael Gaskin to the ITC, or IT committee.
Second.
Yep, looks pretty good. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It looked like we had somebody else who was interested also.
Yeah, it showed up on my phone in Gmail, and it's not there. Tim Pierce, right?
Somebody on Linden Street, buying a house on Linden.
Oh, yeah, he
Oh,
hasn't
there's
filed
another
yet.
one?
Right. Oh, no.
I believe so, because he's on my phone. But yeah,
Yeah.
so there is someone who's about
So we
to
may
close
have
on a
a-
house, and when he becomes a resident, was asking about getting on then.
And how many did we decide on?
5.
Okay.
And I had another one that is a maybe that I'm waiting for a response on. Somebody had handed me a name that looked like a really good prospect, so.
Great.
Okay.
Okay. The Schwer inquiry.
Just an answer to them.
Okay. Well, I mean, what they're talking about is something that's on the boundary line and conceivably over the boundary line with the railroad
Yeah,
right
so
away?
their question keeps revolving around, does the town either own the land? No.
No.
Or control the land?
No.
Right, and then the third piece was just that they had thanked the highway superintendent for giving them an opinion about where the lot line was. And I said that maybe,
But don't they have a surveyor?
no, they didn't, so apparently,
The
bought-
Schwers don't have a surveyor?
this isn't being done because their surveyor found it, they were trying to sell their property.
I understand.
They did not retain a surveyor of their
Okay.
own.
I mean,
I know, but I was gonna ask if maybe you wanted to answer, because they're in a time crunch, they're trying to do back-to-back closings pretty much.
okay. Yeah, I think the answer is that the town doesn't own or control
Is it-
the right-of-way. I believe the statement here is correct, that the MBTA has a lease or control over it.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult to pin down ownership, so it's better just to say that we neither own or control.
We don't own
Yeah.
or control it.
That's right.
As I say, I believe that the MBTA owns it as a successor to the Boston and Maine Railroad.
Do you want me to say that?
That's what we believe, yes. I know that because we've looked at that in connection with the rail trail.
In any event, they've been already advised by Pan Am that they should be talking to Pan Am about this.
Pan Am.
Yep.
And what is Pan Am?
Pan Am, according to informal, what I've heard is Pan Am bought east-west tracks, and CSX owns north-south
Okay.
tracks following the B&M
Okay.
dissolution. So
Okay.
instead of saying, go see the MBTA, I've been told informally, because it's kind of tricky to nail down who owns and who controls. I just for the sake of them, so they can move on, they're looking for the town, they keep cycling back to can the town help them, to just answer that the town neither owns or controls.
We can certainly answer that. And
Yeah.
if that's all we're asked for, then that's the answer.
Because she was asking in context of, does the town have any piece in this, is it a rail trail? You know, so does the town have any say or sway over any of this?
No.
No, exactly. I just didn't want to answer for the
Yeah.
board, though.
Yeah, no. It does seem to me that they should get a surveyor, but,
Correct.
yeah, but that's their issue, okay? All right. The next is scheduling a hazard mitigation plan.
I can answer maybe that a little bit for you.
Yeah, sure.
We're working with CMRPC to update our townwide hazard mitigation plan. And part of their process is to make community presentations, one of which would be to the board. So they would want to come in for 15 minutes or so, do a short PowerPoint presentation for you on what we've done and updating the project.
Okay.
And he'd asked,
The night of November 13th.
right,
That's fine with me.
Sounds good right now.
Okay. Sounds good.
first of the night, is that right?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. What is NESDEC?
New England Schools and something or other.
They're always-
Department of, I don't know, it's the group that evaluates the schools. Every 10 years you have to have, you have to get certified by them.
Okay.
No, wait a minute, no, I'm thinking of NEASC.
New England School
Oh,
Development
yeah.
Council.
Yes, that's the ones that just does the research on the housing for NESDEC.
Okay.
Their review is coming up. And I think the information that you had in the email looked like everything,
Yeah, every significant
that-
thing anyway.
yeah, that.
You talk about
Sher-
trips to Berlin, or that wasn't around then?
What's that?
Well, you could update to say, I mean, I think that's talking about Green Acres, right? When they're alluding to whatever housing project we gave them.
Yeah, but there's been no approval for Capes of Berlin.
Okay. So just
Yeah.
say that that's status quo.
I think that's right.
Yeah, I think they were looking for estimates. I'm sure they've heard about the apartments. They've heard about all this other stuff.
Yeah, but
It
that's
was
the
hint- it was
208,
hinting at it,
yes.
yeah.
That's the
Okay, so that's in
208.
there.
Yeah,
So that's there. Yeah.
looks like she had everything to me, but I may be
Yeah.
forgetting something.
No, I think that's right. And I think that the 208 is good because there was an approval on that and there are no further approvals required. The building permit hadn't been pulled, but, you know,
Mhm.
that's been approved. The Capes of Berlin has not been approved. And I think that should be our bright line
Right.
test in terms of doing it. Okay. Okay, Office Administration, new email addresses. Somebody will have to sit down with me and try to do this because I have a Google address, which is actually, it shows as my Hotmail address, and whenever I try to sign in with the new address, and I tried a couple of times, it wouldn't let me because of the previous address. So I will need to sit down with somebody before I can come online, but,
Same here.
Yeah.
I was telling the
I was
chief,
just looking at something on settings for our
yeah,
Gmail that might have to be changed, so we can take a peek.
at your
You
end?
don't have
No,
an
something
Apple,
you
right?
log into Gmail
I
and
can
change to
help with
allow it to
Apple.
go out.
no,
What do you have?
I have,
Because it doesn't even look
PC.
like a Gmail, does it, when it's at just
It might be able to help you,
townofberlin.com?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it just gets redirected
Yeah.
back through Gmail.
Right. Well, if you could
I
send me
did try
some
a couple of times,
directions.
and every time
Yeah.
it came up, I,
Yeah,
Actually, maybe if you
everything's
wanna try-
easier on
if
an
you
Apple.
Yeah.
Log into
Yeah,
Gmail
so-
here, and we can look at the settings before you go home and take a peek if you want.
Let me check, because he's on a PC and.
yeah.
I have a charter.
Well, we can do it, we can do it
Right,
next
but
week. I'll be in
if
New
you log
York
in with the Gmail
most of this
account
week,
we
so.
gave you,
Okay.
you have to make a change in that, and then it allows Outlook to work. I
Okay.
think.
All right, that's good. So anyway, that's tried. I gave it the old college try.
Me too, for a couple hours.
But please use mine, because mine is working.
Okay.
I love having all of the select board stuff differentiated from my
Okay.
actual.
No, I.
So instead of waiting to tell other departments, I'm gonna go ahead and tell other departments to use your new email address? Or do you want me to wait? I was gonna blast everyone with, and these are all
Don't start to
free.
send them to mine because I won't be able to
Yeah, of
access
course,
them.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and promote Lisa's.
Sure.
Mhm.
Okay.
Or maybe do send mine. I won't be able to
That'd
access
be
them.
nice, wouldn't it?
I'll have the perfect alibi for 2 weeks. All right.
Like I said, I'm sort of loving, and I don't have it on one of my devices.
No, I like the idea and I would
Nice.
like to implement it, but it's clear when I started to
Yeah.
do it that
It wasn't working
I was
out.
going to need a little technical assistance, so.
And I had my technical assistance, my husband, but it
Not so much,
just
yeah.
couldn't make it work, so
All right.
we'll work on it.
New volunteer handbook proposal.
Oh, just on email real quick. When
Oh,
they
yeah.
are all knocked out, you do not want them, some towns put their selectmen's email addresses up online. You'd rather just have this be like in-house and upon request, but not put it online?
Yeah, I think if some things are coming in from the public, for me, they should go into the Board of Selectmen,
Yep.
not to me. Because I think official communication, I mean, if you got the public communicating directly in our official email capacity with each of us,
Pollutes it a little.
certainly for myself, I wouldn't like that. But
Okay.
if it comes into you, then we know you can distribute it
Yeah.
to all of us.
Okay.
I mean, it will obviously get out there, because if we respond to people,
Oh, yeah.
people will do it, but
When people ask though, as they have.
when people ask, I think emails should be sent to the Board of Selectmen.
No, when people have asked for your individual contact information,
Yeah,
so we've had that.
yeah,
I would
mean-
then give it upon
yeah,
request.
yeah.
Okay.
And you have in the past, too.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And sometimes you ask me if,
Yeah. Right.
particularly if it's external rather than, somebody from within town government, so, yeah. Okay.
Plan B on the agenda,
Um,
Google Drive.
I thought all of that was,
Oh,
Well, you can't really partake, or you don't want to partake until you have your new email
yeah,
addresses.
I thought it was all of a piece.
because I do, that works. That one
That
works.
Okay, but you're using that with your current,
Yes.
okay. I went
I just
in right
happened to
through-
go into it and it worked.
You get G Suite with your new email address, which allows us to do a team drive, which is kind of like a shared drive, but a little bit nicer.
Okay.
Nicer than Dropbox.
But I am
Like,
seeing,
kinda use-
I am seeing what has been dropped
Okay.
in the drive that I
Yeah.
have.
So you went in, you took because I invited you over to
Well,
the.
no, I didn't,
Or you didn't go look at the one
I
did
don't
it
think
there.
the invitation worked.
Okay.
But when I just went in, because I do have a Gmail address
Okay,
that I don't use, but
okay. So you saw the structure I set up from my,
I just saw a couple of the documents. I didn't even take a look at them,
okay.
I think. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I allowed you, just to show you what I was thinking, and it was basically as a file repository, because we get so many files that are then all in email.
Mhm.
No.
And it would be nice to be able to have
And is
them
that
in
located,
one
is that a
central-
cloud drive or?
It's basically a cloud drive.
Okay.
Um,
And my question, I guess, is there
So-
enough space? We get
Oh.
an awful lot of,
No space issues whatsoever.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Okay.
it's unlimited space,
That was
isn't
my
it, with G
question.
Suite?
Yeah,
Or real
I'd have to look
close?
under the business, and I remember just on personally, it was like 15 gigs on personal.
So
I mean,
basically,
you're
I
not
took
gonna-
last week
with Word
and set it up
files
in
and
here.
things like that.
because
you're
as
not-
soon as
So,
you get to a certain point,
it's
like
really
with
just all the
Dropbox,
files.
they want you
They
to
want
pay.
more money.
Like
Yeah,
anything
we
for
don't
annual
have,
town
so we
meeting,
have like
you
a
would go in
limited
there,
backup,
board
everything
meetings, you
through
could
our
do
big
like by
business
date. So you could
versus
put
a
all
personal.
of the
Maybe it
files
went into-
potentially for the meeting tonight in the same place,
Is there-
rather than all the
Mhm.
emails.
I don't quite understand it all.
Yeah.
My
Like,
drive,
The council on aging files that we
could it
got,
have gone
so if we
into
should need
the
that stuff
drive that
again,
I
it's
had
right
already
there to
set up
find it,
for
rather
school
than having to
things?
dig it out.
Yeah, no, and maybe what I can do is
I
bring
don't
my,
know. Shouldn't
bring my
have,
computer
but
down here
maybe
one
it
evening
linked.
and.
Yeah, I'm happy to
Because
sit
I don't use it
Yeah.
a
with you
lot
and,
yet.
and
We're
Yeah.
walk
actually
you
gonna
through
do
anything.
I mean, I'm sure if I
Training
sit down
for
for
the police
half an hour,
department
45 minutes, I'll be
Basically,
fine, but.
And we're
I mean,
migrating the
every place I've
servers
ever
here.
worked has had a file
Mhm.
And after we
system,
do
that's
that,
what it
I'm gonna
is.
have
It's
the
Oh, yes, no, absolutely. You know,
Here,
unfortunately, mine,
open up
the one I have at the office runs
like that
through
as well.
okay.
To really go over
IBM
how it all
Lotus
works
Notes, so
and
it's
what
quite different.
Yeah.
You know, it just,
But no.
and as I say, when I tried to get in to Gmail, I was having trouble, so,
Problems.
anyway.
Yeah, but anytime you want help, just let me know.
Alrighty.
So I don't want to have to do different platforms for different selectmen though. So until everyone gets on board, can we not start using it then when we, can we start
I
using it?
personally am gonna start I will put files that
Yeah.
you send me in here, because then they're there.
Yep, so you're gonna populate
So
it.
there's no.
Yeah, and that's fine, because that's no effort for you, but you will continue to send things in the usual way until we're all ready to
On
receive them.
board.
Yeah,
Yep, that's good.
yep,
And we may make it simple. Just do it the one way that you've been doing it till we get,
yep.
Yeah, and
I'm
what I'm
already
what
there
I'm
with
doing,
Gmail, but, you
Yeah.
know,
I
I wanna
know.
make sure that everyone is there.
right.
yeah,
Okay.
what I'm doing has nothing to do with, I can store files and have nothing to do with anybody else,
Mm-hmm.
so.
Okay.
Okay,
Um,
next is the new volunteer employee handbook proposal and the proposed code of conduct.
Well, C was scheduling an open meeting law and public records training.
Oh, yes, sorry.
If you
You're
want to
just
do
not
that.
doing the alphabet tonight.
No, I'm trying to get out of here because I have to be,
I know,
get up at.
that's okay.
yeah, quarter
I
to
don't blame
3,
you.
so-
Or I can wait until after special town meeting if you
Yeah,
want to kind
I
of
mean,
do
we
it.
can
But then
wait
we're gonna be in
on some
budget
of this
season,
too, as
but-
far as I'm concerned.
Well, you want to consider the other things after, put them on next week's calendar? Next week I will not be getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Talking about, you want to put that back on next week?
Yeah,
Okay.
the C and the D, okay?
C
Is that
and
fair
D.
enough?
Sure,
Okay.
and the handbook is out there and has been out there for anybody who wants to look at it.
Yeah. And then we can, we could vote on an adoption for it, and that's fine,
The
right?
handbook is out where?
You were sent a copy, and it's also,
Yes,
it is
yes.
on Google Drive, and it has been, I sent you an invitation for that weeks ago, so,
Yes.
they are,
I did
They are
have
there.
some suggestions as far as, and I don't want to go into it now because we're going
yeah,
to defer it, but
Well, let's put it
And,
higher up on the agenda for next
okay.
week, okay? And I don't think there are any particular updates on the elevator project,
right,
so.
I think
Okay.
so
Do we
far
have
we're
to-
covered.
Do we have to vote on the code of conduct?
Yeah, that's what,
That's the
was asked.
one page,
Yep.
yeah, I'm willing to vote on that.
Can I just make a suggestion?
Mm-hmm.
Because we didn't get feedback from people, which that's one thing that's important to me as far as like the handbook and the different things. I would suggest that since we did approve it, essentially, we didn't
was a
vote
vote.
to approve it, but we just sort of
I
said,
think
yeah, it
we
looks
approved
good.
it by consensus, yes.
Right.
Mhm.
That perhaps we leave it up to each office where they're going to put it, or
I'm
if they're going to put it up.
pretty sure that we did, and also I would question on this specific thing, because it is a legal thing, that we are trying to protect ourselves against, that it's not really something that feedback is, you
Well,
know.
just the format, that was my, I mean, maybe just a little bit,
But did you get input from somebody on the
No,
format?
I'm
Is
just
there an
saying.
issue?
looked a little negative. I have,
Someone asked me, what does it mean to appear intoxicated and then be bounced out of the building for appearing intoxicated?
just,
Did-
you know,
Appearing intoxicated is like a lot of other things. You know it when you see it.
Do you, or?
Yeah.
Could it be a medical condition? I mean, was that actual language that was taken from a town, or was it?
It was sent to me directly from the town of South Hadley,
With no edits to it?
with no edits other than changing it to Berlin. 0 edits. They said it had been implemented very successfully over there, and it was helpful.
I mean, I thought that one was really I have to say uncontroversial, and you know.
okay,
Um,
that's fine. I was just suggesting that, you know, you're gonna make, is it, we're going to ask them to put it up? I mean, if it's up in the building, 1 or 2 places, does it really matter if it's at every single office? That's my question, I guess.
Has there been any office you're aware of that has objected to putting it up?
I'm just hearing like little bits and pieces. I'm not getting like, you know,
Well, people see it entering my office, because people like to look at the agenda, and they're like, what precipitated that? I'm like, oh, a
Going
workshop.
to training
Yeah,
and
a
realizing
workshop.
we
That's the answer.
We have
Mm.
legal culpability.
Um,
and I did appreciate the email Dennis said, because it had a little bit of teeth to it, saying why we need to do this. I did appreciate that. I just didn't know we had any kind of issues like that, I guess, and, you know, was it,
It only takes one. It only takes one, and the town is liable.
if you don't have it up, the town is liable.
It's just one more way to protect ourselves, saying that we are making a concerted effort to protect our employees.
I guess I wasn't clear on even that it was for employees or even for people just walking in the building, again, you know.
It is because we are liable, if someone comes in and harasses from outside and comes in and harasses one of our employees, we are liable for that. We have to take the steps to protect our employees. It simply says that we are cognizant of this issue, and we are doing our best to keep a work environment that is not hostile.
Okay. Well, it's a little bit better explanation, I think, than the last meeting, but, and I will, let you guys, I just think some of these things that we're doing, or that you're doing, we need to get some feedback. You can't, like, do everything in a bubble. And I like getting feedback as, one selectman. So that's.
no, as do I. You know,
I have
you
no
know-
issue with feedback, but I think you need to also think about, you know, in the instance of something like this is something both of your sexual harassment and discrimination officers went to training and came back and said, we think this is a really good idea. So.
Well, I didn't hear
that
from Dennis
standpoint-
until Friday,
Yeah.
so.
But he was available and I was available, and everybody agreed in a meeting.
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would be willing to vote again more formally to request that people put that up in each of the offices. And also to welcome, if people have any questions, comments, etc., to contact us.
Okay.
Exactly. I mean,
that would be the
that is
motion?
an option
Sure.
always.
Yeah, but let's put it in the motion, all right?
Great.
So, okay?
Fine.
Alrighty. I'll make that. Does somebody want to second it?
Second.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any quick selectmen's updates here? I have a couple, but I'll let others go.
No, I don't think I have any, had questions about, say, for instance, your Friday.
Yes, and I
meeting.
was gonna
Yeah.
update you on that.
That was on my list here.
Yep. I did, it was a useful discussion with, we had two members of DEP come out, Mariel Stone, who's been communicating with us, and I'm sorry I left the notes at home but we had somebody from the water quality
Right.
area come out as well. We talked about the fact that the way to memorialize this in a way that would bind DEP as well as the town and be something that we could, like hold in our hands and realize that, it wouldn't be changed later on, would be to enter into an administrative consent order with them on the operation of that, which would require water testing, which should be done at that site anyway. Initially, and then would have other steps that would be optional to the town, when and if we did further things to the building.
Okay.
Okay. They also pointed out, and I will forward to you, we should put on the agenda for next time, is that there are currently outstanding 4 or 5 notices of deficiency for the town for the testing of public water supplies that are administered by the town today. And I will forward that email. We can put them on the agenda.
For this building or for the library?
Including for this building,
Oh, okay.
yes. Mm-hmm. And so we need to address that. I think the library trustees were satisfied with the meeting.
Okay. Did you have your questions answered?
Yes, as I say, my question was whether we could take a results-oriented approach to the public water supply, and they agreed that yes, we could. That they would not. They wouldn't require a new well unless the testing and so on suggested something that could not be mitigated other than with a new well. They agreed that site would be allowed a tight tank, if it was not possible to sort of juggle the septic system and the well on that fairly small property, which
Right.
nobody really thinks you can. And that we could memorialize this in a way that bound the DEP, because that was my concern also, that if we're dealing, this thing is, probably 4 or 5, 6 years out, or maybe even more, I don't know,
We'll see.
in terms of actual construction. I think the 2020 is the grant cycle they're
Oh.
looking at, so, so my concern was to have, a position staked out administratively that, wouldn't change 3 or 4 or 5 years from now when we actually got to it. And again, they indicated to us that an administrative consent order, which is an agreement between DEP and particularly pre-existing, or non-conforming water supplies, that certain things will be done and certain things will be allowed. And it binds both the town and the DEP.
Okay. As far as the Highland Commons money, though, where are we with that?
I think that we were given examples of an ACO, and I think we need to enter into one of those, or at least get their approval on the draft, and then I think they would be ready. And that's fine, because they're looking for, we have months to do this.
Yes,
So, yeah.
I just figured there's got to be some timeline type
Mhm.
things, and hurdles to get past.
Well, those are the steps
to
that we
make
need to do. The trustees and I will have to meet again to set up the exact timeline, because I had to leave. They were gonna then walk around outside, but I had to leave. My car was stuck in New Bedford because it wouldn't start, and I had to return a rental car on Friday before 5 o'clock and pick up my car, or I would have had the rental car all this week while I was in New York, so. I was there for a good hour and 15 minutes talking with them, but I had to get out around 2:45, so.
Yeah,
We didn't have a chance to talk after they left.
okay.
So that's the result of that, and you guys, you were at the Capes of Berlin, so you know
Yes.
that
they
we delivered
closed the hearing and.
the letter, and the letter was really, a further elaboration of what we had put out in June.
Right.
I'd say about half of it or so was in the June letter, but there was
Right.
more detail and so on at this point. And those were the two larger things I did.
All right. I did meet this week with Keith after the town barn meeting and the 1870 town hall meeting on Wednesday. We started to put together what's in the building budget for this building. Whatever it is, 192. That's the right one, right, Mary?
Yeah, 192 is, municipal
Yeah,
building.
municipal building. And I'm working on putting some kind of a document together so that you can see.
Yeah. And again, I think it's pretty simple.
Right.
He's got about 12 in that miscellaneous right now.
I don't know, because I
No,
think
no.
he's spent it.
My point is.
Right.
He's got 12 for his spending.
Yes,
Okay? That's it.
Yes.
That's what he's got. We spent
7 or whatever
seven
it was,
and
yeah.
change.
Right.
So he's got to figure out, he's got 12. Obviously, he spent,
Mhm.
he's going to spend. So with that 12, what does he need?
Yeah.
That's it.
And actually, if you want to put that on the agenda for next week, that's fine.
I thought we
Yes,
had
we
said
did
we
that.
would, yes.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, and again, if you can nail that down by next week, that's good,
Yep.
because we want to have those figures to go in on the Wednesday to FinCom.
Okay, we're good. We'll be good. Trying to read my notes here. I think we covered most everything.
Yeah.
Well, there was
And I will forward the water testing stuff. You ought to talk to him about that and see if we have to spend money on that as well, because
okay,
to have 4 or 5 deficiency notices that are unresponded to is really not acceptable, and it doesn't do anything for our credibility in dealing with DEP on other issues.
yep.
Do you
Okay.
want Keith to be at next week's meeting?
I can't tell that right now.
Okay.
But if you feel that would be useful in talking with him,
Okay,
then I think he should. Okay?
all right.
And you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I finalized the piece that I could do on the volunteer handbook, so that's out there for, it would be nice to have a timeline in the back. They have a sample timeline of how sort of when budgets happen, when other things happen, and I can't really put that together because I haven't gone through the whole cycle.
Mhm.
So that would be one piece that's very
Okay.
outstanding.
Okay.
And there are a couple other questions throughout there that we need to address. But I tackled most of Mary's suggestions, I think, and
Okay.
then, so it's all sort of commented up, and we can deal with that at another juncture.
Okay.
Maybe
Yeah,
we
it
can-
probably
maybe you can
will be
take a
next week
look.
before I can look at it because
Okay.
of being in New York this week.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I have training tomorrow from 9 to 3, more sexual harassment training.
All right.
How to
Where's
conduct
that?
Interviews, it's in Northborough.
Mhm. All right. Anything else? All right, hearing nothing, I would take a motion to adjourn.
Oh, we have an executive session, though.
Oh, we do?
Yep, a quick one.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Executive session. for the purposes of discussing collective bargaining. Andrew, aye?
Keith, aye?
Waisaki, aye.
And we will not be going into public session thereafter. Thanks.